So much of the fun of a Disney vacation, of course, is food, but for us, it's also definitely drinks. We've gone over our food experiences in other videos, and now we're gonna review drinks, but probably mostly cocktails.
Yeah.
We definitely did have wine here and there with meals, and wine definitely enhances the meal, don't get me wrong, but not quite as memorable as the fun cocktails that sometimes it feels like you can only get those down in Disney. Heck, sometimes you even have to leave planet Earth and head off to Batu to get a special drink. For anyone new to the channel, hey, I'm Jacqueline.
And I'm Adam.
This is Pixie Dust PhD. We talk a lot about Disney, our Disney trips, other informational content, including Disney Vacation Club on this channel. Please browse around and check it out. And if you do enjoy this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can then ring the bell icon to receive notifications whenever we upload new videos. I went back and did a brief count. I think we had something like 40 drinks. Oops. We were gone for 2 weeks, and you know, this is part of the vacation experience for us, so there's that. We are not gonna go over every single one of those in details by any means. Rare for us, we did get a handful of drinks that were not alcoholic at all, and these were all basically coffee drinks. So we got a pumpkin spice latte at the Starbucks in Magic Kingdom, which I think is the first time we've ever gotten Starbucks in the theme park.
Yeah, I'd say that's true. We've gotten like random like coffee before, but not an actual like Starbucks drink.
Yeah, we've gone to Starbucks and bought like the mugs, but I don't think we got like a Starbucks drink before. But anyway, we were walking past one day and there was just no line. So we figured, why not? We were there in October, lived up the fall vibes, good times.
Yeah, it went really well with all the fun, intricate pumpkin carvings that were up and down Main Street.
So true. And then we also did get another pumpkin spice latte as well as a shakerado at the little cafe in the Riviera, almost equally as overpriced as Starbucks, not quite, but they're good. Then finally, we did get the special offering cold brew Black Cat at Cat Saka's Kettle. You can get that with alcohol. We did not get it with alcohol. People really like this drink on the internet. I don't really drink cold brew, so I don't think I'm a fair judge, but it did have like Cocoa Puffs on top, and I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, it was really tasty. I enjoyed it.
Okay, I was very like, I don't get why everyone likes this, but I probably also just don't like cold brew.
I did enjoy the Cocoa Puff aspect of it though.
There you go. All right, otherwise everything else was either water, and we did run to Target and pick up some seltzers, non-alcoholic, as well as just mini Coca-Colas for me. But yeah, otherwise, alcohol. We did get the blue milk in Star Wars. We added the alcohol to that. I do think the alcohol probably makes it taste a lot better. We haven't tried it without the alcohol, but there's just a way that it like takes off some of the weird like fake taste of it and gives it some more body, so I would suggest. We did hit up a lot of different venues while we were down in Orlando, and for the most part it was eating and drinking, but there were a few here and there where we really only got drinks. One of those was Scat Cat's over at Port Orleans, and this was our first time there.
We rope dropped the place and I had our pick of the seats, and we got some nice comfy oversized chairs and had a couple of cocktails.
It's definitely like a moody kind of vibe. Yeah, really comfy chairs. I understand why people like it there so much. The drinks were also pretty good. The bartender seemed quite knowledgeable, which is not always true at every resort lounge. So I understand why people like it there a lot. Unfortunately, we just didn't have the belly space to try the beignets. I think that probably also amps up the experience a little bit. Back over in space, we did also go to Oga's Cantina. We each had one drink of our own and then we split one. And that is very fun, but most of the drinks are pre-mixed. I will say though, they have a riff on a margarita that is surprisingly really delicious, even though it is pre-mixed. It's got like a passion foam on top. Just the flavors are super well balanced. That being said, that is a really expensive place to go. I think with tax and tip and everything, we paid over 70 bucks for 3 drinks. So not for the faint of heart. You are of course paying for the theme and the experience. And we did get to sit at the bar. Just, it was, you know, totally by chance, but that was fun for me.
Yeah, it was definitely something that was fun to experience, but definitely not a must-do if you've already done it once, because I think the theming inside, it's a fun bar, theming's good, but it really is over the top price-wise. Yeah,
the price is just hard to swallow, I think, unless you're really into Star Wars and want to do that every time. We'd been once before, it'd been a few years, we decided to go back. And I'm not mad that we went back, but it's not like a blanket recommendation from me. We did also stop by Bar Riva at the Riviera. Actually, Adam had a work call he had to take, so I just went down to the nice pool bar and grabbed us a couple drinks to enjoy while we were hanging out at the resort. And that was surprisingly really good. I don't know if we just got especially lucky with the bartender who was there at the time, but the drinks were really well crafted.
Jacqueline was kind enough to hand me my cocktail while I was on my work call, and it was really well balanced, and I really enjoyed it. It had an excellent little seat outside overlooking the whole Riviera Resort from the lobby level, and it was just a really relaxing, beautiful day and an excellent cocktail with great company.
That's definitely a resort bar I would go back to. It is unfortunate that it's a little bit tricky to get there if you aren't staying right near there, or I guess walkable to Epcot and then you can take the Skyliner over, or I guess walkable to Hollywood Studios and you can take the Skyliner over. Parking there is pretty heinous, as in I wouldn't suggest you try.
Yeah, I would say definitely something where if you're going to a restaurant or just going to hang out with folks outside of the park, I can see this being a really great place to grab a drink.
During our Volcano Bay day, we did get a couple of drinks. Unfortunately, while we were there, only one of the bars was open, so we had staked out seats that were next to a bar, but that bar just never opened up. I don't know if it was a staffing issue or if crowds weren't high enough or whatever. There's only one bar, and they really do hand make like every single drink that gets ordered, so the line can get quite long. I'm sure you can imagine, like, wow, people at a water park who want to hang out and drink, right?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. The line for drinks Jacqueline was waiting in that line while I went and got food. I was able to wait in the food line, get my food, and walk back over to where Jacqueline was, still waiting in line. And I don't even think you made halfway. You made it roughly halfway through the line. And basically, when we got up to the front, they were essentially just nonstop making drinks, and they probably had, I don't know if they ever had a break like all day long.
It didn't seem like it.
It's crazy.
They're definitely working hard, and that line moves as fast as it can with the staffing level that they had, but that probably was the longest line we waited in that whole day.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
But the drinks were quite good and real strong, so, worth it. You do also get a souvenir cup, or I guess you kind of pay for it, and then if you reuse the cup later, I think you get $1 or $2 off. I did find out that cup only works in Volcano Bay. So if you're there during spooky season like we were, there's also a Halloween Horror Nights cup. And so places that give you a discount for that cup probably don't for the Volcano Bay cup, just heads up. But yeah, I mean, the wait was unfortunate, but the drinks were good. And I think if you're gonna spend half a day, 2/3 of a day, or a full day at Volcano Bay and you wanna have some cocktails, at least they're good, right? And I can recommend them.
And just if you ever find yourself at one of these bars at Volcano Bay, make sure you bring your ID. They will not serve you without it. Very strict on that front, and saw a couple people got denied because they left their ID in a locker and had to leave and wait in line all over again.
Yeah, to the point where we had switched off in line because Adam had got food. So then I went and ate a little bit, switch. And Adam was at the front ordering, and I had given him my ID, and he had to like point me out, sitting at the table eating my food. Like, they're pretty like one face, one drink, which is good. But yeah, definitely be prepared for it. Stop by your locker before you hop in that line. And as a nightcap, we did get one round of drinks over at AbracadaBar. We have been before. I don't know that I would qualify it as one of our favorites, but it's definitely a good option.
It's super convenient to Boardwalk, and if you're ever looking for a nightcap on your way back from the parks or just want to escape the room, it's a nice themed spot that you can just duck into a little booth and have a nice drink.
Yeah, seating is first come, first serve, so that's a little chaotic at times, and you can't really just like walk up. If you're sat, you're not supposed to like walk up to the bar and order a drink and bring it back, which is a little annoying. And they seem also forever understaffed, honestly, for the crowds that they pull in. It can get quite busy, but the theming's good. I think the drinks are well made. They're not outrageously priced. So for me, I would generally recommend it. It's not a must do, but yeah, if you're in the area, it's a solid spot. And you had a Sazerac both at Scat Cat's Club as well as AbracadaBar. What did you think about those?
I think I have to give it to Scat Cat, maybe because it wasn't slammed at 11 o'clock at night or something like that, where they're backed up with a lot of drinks to make. But I thought the New Orleans drink at the New Orleans bar has the edge.
I mean, makes sense. I got a sidecar while we were at AbracadaBar. It's kind of one of my go-to cocktails. I thought it was pretty good at AbracadaBar, no complaints, but definitely doesn't compare to the one you can get at California Grill. That being said, it's a lot fewer dollars. And a forever favorite of ours, we did grab drinks at Tambu Lounge while we were staying at the Polynesian before we headed off to Trader Sam's.
The Lapu Lapu is always a legend, but we didn't get it this time.
Yeah, Lapu Lapu is not an every single trip thing for me, even though in my heart it is. But in reality, I don't always do it. I got an indigo hibiscus, which was new to me. It's entirely possible it was on the menu in our prior trips and I just didn't remember it. And then you got the rum swizzle, which I don't think we'd ever had before.
No, we usually get like the back scratcher or something like that.
Yeah, Lapu Lapu, sometimes just not in the pineapple to save some money. We almost always get a back scratcher, the Mai Tai. Like, we just have our favorites. Branched out a little bit this time. I was not impressed with the indigo hibiscus, which is sad because I think that's the first time I've had a drink at the Poly that I was like, wow, that's very boring and basic. And like, it was not bad. There was just nothing really to say about it. But the rum swizzle was quite good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Definitely a couple different types of rum mixed in there, and it really hit the spot, especially because we were waiting to drink more rum.
So anyway, lesson learned. I shouldn't try new things. You'll be disappointed. Now, we talked about a lot of the other places we went to where we had both food and drink already. Again, we're not going to go down the whole list, but let's just talk about a few favorites and some least favorites. Trader Sam's comes up for me, of course. Just definitely a favorite.
At Trader Sam's, they always have a lot of gimmicks, and what was really fun is that there was a couple seated across from us who just asked us what's the best gimmick, and that's the drink they ordered, is what we recommended.
Yeah. They were like, do you guys live here? Do you come here a lot? And we were like, no, we don't live here, but I guess we come here a lot for the amount of times we're in Central Florida.
And then also they have a pearl drink where you get to keep the pearl, and usually the pearls are white, but one time they pulled it out and it was black. And everyone was like, ooh.
Extra special
gimmick.
So yeah, the theming is obviously legendary, but I also just think that the drinks are very well thought out and then also well executed. An underwhelming venue for me ended up being Citricos, which I was pretty surprised about because it's, you know, signature level dining. We had a little bite, I think it was smoked cauliflower there, and then we each got a drink, and the smoked cauliflower was wild. It was so good. I've never had anything like that. The drink was not bad, but it just was entirely forgettable, which again, I think for signature level dining is a bit disappointing. But I think you liked your drink more than I liked mine, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think mine was just very much an alcohol forward.
Yeah, you got drink. Like some orange blossom martini, I think, and I got a riff on a marg. So I don't know, mixed experience. I think maybe it warrants going back, but it's in pretty stark contrast to the other signature dining just across the way, Narcoossee's, where we both loved pretty much everything that came out, drinks included. I'm still thinking about that key lime pie martini. I kind of can't stop thinking about it. So yeah, Citricos was just, it fell a little flat for me. You know, nothing about that experience makes me definitely want to go back either to the lounge or to the full dining experience.
One of our favorite drink experiences this trip was at Fort Wilderness, Crockett's Tavern. I really enjoyed my cocktail, but we also got a moonshine flight, which was its own adventure.
It was sweet. It definitely was on the sweeter end of things, but it was fun to go through the different flavors, and I thought it was pretty well priced for being a flight.
Yeah, every moonshine flavor was pretty distinct and had its own ups and downs. But overall, I was really impressed with the service. The bartenders were friendly and kind of just talked you through what they were making and gave you some tasting notes to make sure that you would like what you ultimately ordered, which was really nice.
Yeah, I got a riff on basically a whiskey smash, and it was not overly sweet, which I was pretty impressed with because between being at Disney and then also that drink just lends itself to being like more sugary than you'd want. Like, they really found the balance well. I definitely think they know what they're doing. And yeah, the flight was super fun because that felt like something you could probably really only do there. Like, what other places on property are offering that moonshine flight? When we had dinner at Toothsome Chocolate Emporium and City Walk at Universal, we also each got a cocktail with our meal. I did get a cherry cocktail, but noticed that it didn't come with a cherry garnish, and a bunch of the other drinks did come with like the Luxardo cherry. And so I just really nicely asked our waitress when I ordered if it would be possible to just get the cherry garnish, and she looked kind of confused at first, but she was like, oh, you just want a cherry with your drink? And I said, yeah, and she brought it. So the drink was good. I do think the cherry made it better, but mostly I just want to give a shout out for like being so nice about my ridiculous request.
And I got a chocolate old fashioned. It was just basically a rum old fashioned with like some white chocolate and think chocolate bitters. I thought it was pretty well executed. My only complaint is that sometimes the shaved chocolate would get like stuck on my face. But overall, it was a good accompaniment to our meal, and I definitely enjoyed they're playful, fun, dessert-themed cocktails, even though they're not for dessert.
Yeah, and that was like a really fun riff on an old fashioned too. Like I don't really enjoy old fashions generally, and I had a sip of that and it didn't read like an old fashioned to me. For Toothsome Chocolate Emporium, as far as the full meal experience, I don't know that we need to go back, but the drinks were really good, and like the cocktail menu was very enticing. It took me a long time to pick just one drink. So that is one where I'd be like, oh, maybe we just like go see if there's seats at the bar and grab a drink and maybe a snack. Yeah,
I definitely agree with that.
For other cast member shout outs, I did just want to say when we were at Cinderella's Royal Table, the online menu had a sparkling wine flight, but then the paper menu when we sat down didn't have it. And I asked about that and they had discontinued the flight, but our cast member server was like, I'll figure it out for you. And, you know, she very much asked not to be named because she didn't want to get in trouble, but, you know, I thanked her profusely and she did end up basically, you know, making me a sparkling wine flight. That was a really awesome and special experience. We did also grab sort of a last minute lounge reservation at Space 220. They had recently revamped some aspects of their menu. So we got just a couple cocktails, a Saturn 2.0 and a Command Center. It was fun. I'll say, okay, here's the thing is for me, I found it a bit disappointing mostly because the picture of my drink had a very specific piece of glassware and the glassware I received was not that. And I do think, I know that sounds dumb, but I do think it changes the experience a little bit.
Yeah, it's always really cool when you have a menu that shows you the glassware that it's going to come in, and that was not the case here, which was unfortunate.
Overall though, they're like fairly well-constructed drinks. I would say, you know, you're gonna come out probably $20 a drink after tax and tip, so they're on the expensive side, and it's slow. It's a slow experience.
Yeah. And honestly, you're paying for the whole ambiance and all of the space references and the view of the space wall. So it's a really cool way to experience all of that without committing yourself to a full meal, where if you sit in the main dining room, you have to do this like 3-course situation.
Well, it's 2 courses at lunch, 3 courses at dinner, I think.
Right.
But yeah, at the lounge, you can order what you want. You can do the full 2 or 3 course experience if you want. They also do have like a smaller menu, I think, of just individual items you can buy and then drinks, of course. So we had done a proper Space 220 lunch before. So like the novelty of the ambience and the space elevator and all of that was kind of like, okay, like I mean, it's still neat, but it's not selling point. Like I really wanted to go to try the drinks and it did end up just being like such a huge time suck, but oh, it's okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
Also in Epcot, we actually sat down at Cava del Tequila. We were with a friend, so you know, we got drinks, we got chips and guac and salsa and queso. So that was a fun experience, of course, but our friend decided to treat us, and she's like the most over-the-top person about that kind of stuff. So she was egging me on to get this cocktail, even though I think it was like actually $30 or something outrageous. But it's called the Lily, and it comes out in like a cloche, and there's like a whole show basically. And it honestly was like super delicious.
It was it's just as beautiful to watch as it was to taste, right?
Probably true. It's overpriced, don't get me wrong, but like if you're gonna spend the money to have the experience, at least it was good both on the visuals and on the taste.
Yeah, it was pretty fun starting our Epcot day of drinking around the world at Mexico. We were not obviously the only people with this idea. Everyone loves to start at Mexico at the cave. And it was all the staff getting ready and just the whole crowd's excitement was contagious. It was a lot of fun.
There was definitely a line, but a lot of people just got drinks to go. So I was surprised we were able to sit, but even when they sat us, there were still a bunch of tables ready. So if you are gonna rope drop it and you wanna sit, even if the line looks long, maybe your chances will end up being better than you think.
Yeah, I think like Jacqueline said, most people just go grab it to go from the bar and start their journey of walking around the world with a drink in hand.
And we talked about this more extensively in another video, which I'll link down below, but I just remain super impressed with all the drinks from STK on happy hour. I don't know that they're worth the full price, but at the happy hour price, it is such a good deal. They're well thought out, they're well crafted. Like, if we lived down there, that's a dangerous happy hour for us.
If we could ever make it.
That's a good point. I think it runs from like 3 to 6 or something. So check their website for the official hours, but it would be tough in our, 9 to 5, which is more like 9 to 6:30 jobs most of the time. We also did touch on this in another video, but we did go to Top of the World I think we actually went twice, but we got drinks once.
Yeah.
And that was the first time, and then we didn't get drinks the second time. So I guess that tells you something already. They were totally fine. I think they're like themed on the menu to villains, which is cute. And I think they're made fine. I just think the initial construction, like the recipe is maybe not the most appealing, at least for the two that we got.
While seating is limited at Top of the World, they do let folks line up and just go to the bar in a separate line. So if you just want to grab a drink and hang out on the rooftop, they definitely are flexible with that, which was nice.
Yeah, so Top of the World was a neat experience. The drinks are not the selling point, if you ask me.
100%.
I will also just shout out one specific wine. We had a Chenin Blanc at Sanaa that I thought was divine. Chenin Blanc is probably one of my favorite types of wine, so I am highly biased toward that. But if you're ever there, I can definitely suggest that Chenin Blanc. Thinking about all of our many drinks, then what were your top one or couple favorites?
I really enjoyed my Sazerac at Scat Cat's. I thought it was really well done.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty surprised actually you picked that.
Oh, what were you thinking I was going to say?
I don't know. You just didn't seem all that impressed with it as we were leaving the place. You weren't talking about it.
Sure. Well, sometimes things that are done really well, sometimes they just stick with you.
Fair. For me, I think tie between my mood of key lime pie martini, but that is a very specific type of drink, or probably French 71, which I could drink with anything.
I also enjoyed how some of the cocktails had hidden Mickeys. It's just a nice little touch.
Always super fun when you get a little bit more of that Disney magic. Thanks so much for following along on the journey. I hope you found this useful, funny, helpful, something along those lines. If you have any favorite cocktails or wines, definitely let us know in the comments down below. We're always looking to expand our repertoire when we head down to Disney for whatever drinks we're choosing. Thanks so much for watching. We super appreciate your support. May the rest of your day be magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.
Bye.